Hey, how are you? How is everyone doing today? What the hell is today? Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. Hey, Hippie, how are you? It's nice to see you. Oh my goodness, I'm having the distinct sense of deja vu. And in case you're new here, I'm Lisa, and this is Crimes and Fashion, along with Fashionistas, Valens, and Fruit Loops, my sister channel that is streaming simultaneously with Crimes and Fashion. The chats do not merge, though. I can see both chats, but you all can only see the chat from the channel you're in. Oh, goodness. Well, it's a beautiful day here in Florida. I think it's about, maybe 76, 78 degrees, and the humidity's down. Oh, God, it's so nice. Earth, how are you? Girl, I didn't even know you had a channel until yesterday. I love your thumbnails. They're very cool. And I swear to you, hand to God, I watched the latest video and I was like, damn, I love this. This girl's got it going on. And then I clicked on the next video and I was like, yes. Hey, Alabama, how you doing? Mike Stevens, my internet husband. Where were you yesterday? Were you creeping over at Betty's house? I hope not. You never know. I might have a PI following you. Oh, Lord have mercy, you guys. So yes, anyone who does not know, Earth has a fantastic clip channel doing God's work. That's what I say about the clips. I don't know, Earth, I don't know, how do y'all do this? I've asked Heels in the Air this question before. How do y'all wash this nasty disgustingness out of your brain? I mean, it's like the obscene Baby Shark. Baby Shark, God, I apologize for anyone who's not met Baby Shark yet, but once you do, I promise you won't forget it. And it's just one of those things, like you can't wash it out of your brain. So I'm imagining that these pimp people must be the same type of situation. God almighty, you guys. Yes, Hippie, check it out. You will like it. And the clips are in, like, to me, that's the sweet spot, the perfect amount of time. And y'all take it from somebody who, big word for the day that I'm sure the pimp people have never heard before. For people like me who tend to bloviate a little too long, although I try not to, it's not always easy to, even though these disgusting people are, there is no depth to them. Let me find something very shallow. Oh, here we go. Here's our show and tell for the class today. Can y'all see that? This is a teeny weeny tiny lip gloss. And the pimp people are about, can you see the lid? I mean, that might be a 1/4 of an inch deep at best. That's about the depth of them. Hey, Coco, how you doing, girl? I haven't seen you in a while. Everything good? I hope. I was actually thinking about you yesterday. It's like, damn, I need to get in touch with her. Okay. Mike, I don't know why you'd go over there. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she was holding a seminar on, how to be an all-around, well-rounded, gorgeous, smart, investigative reporter. And maybe you have an interest in that. I don't know. Coco, glad to hear it. Okay, y'all, we might be here a little while. But as you know, my sciatic nerve doesn't cooperate for more than about 2 hours at best. So we may have that, mercy. You guys, I'm not going to deviate from my map here. Val and me, how are you? Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. we're not going to deviate from our plan. Now, unlike Betty, you know, God didn't make this plan for today's episode. So I am going to start exactly where I said I was going to start, which is where we left off to yesterday. But don't you worry, it's all roads lead to yesterday and the pimpy people and their, oh my God. Hi, CC Jones. How you doing? Thank you. If my TV wasn't so expensive, I would, God almighty, I'd throw a brick through it. These people. Okay, we're gonna, oh, you know, I thought I'd wear these glasses today, even though they're not necessarily the best match for my, I think my tortoise, the tortoise might match a little better, but you know, I got to figure out, hold on 1 minute. I need to figure out who that baseball coach is. Mike Stevens, do you follow baseball? Who's the old man baseball coach? And it was a Florida team. I can't remember the name of it. Although I don't think Florida has, it was not the Marlins. I know that. It was the other one. Who's the baseball coach? The older guy that, these are kind of his trademark. And every time I look at Manatee Molly, that's who I think of. Give me 1 minute. Let's see what that dude's name was. It's the Rays. Tampa Bay Rays. Used to be called the Devil Rays. Joe Madden. That's who he looks like. That's who she looks like with the glasses. Yeah. In more ways than one. Okay. So yes, I thought I'd wear these. You know, in honor of, oh. But first things first. Oh, did you guys like the title of this video? I don't think you could see it all from the screen. You have to click on it. That gem is not my own brilliance. I saw that on the internet somewhere and I love it. Mike Stevens, Gary Busey. Oh my God, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. Except Gary Busey's better looking. And I think his lips might be bigger. Hey, Kara, how you doing? Laughs with me, Lily. How are ya? Oh my God, Mike, you get an award. It's gonna be hard to top that today. But back to the title. I don't remember where I saw it on the internet, but I laughed. I laugh every time I think of it. I'm not saying I hate you, but I would unplug your life support to charge my phone. Oh my God, I think that's so appropriate here, which is a lovely segue into my standard disclaimer at the beginning of each episode, that being this. Please do not go to anyone I speak about here and give them hate, harassment, no doxing. Please don't do that. I know I don't need to tell you guys that, but I just feel like it's something that, damn it, what is that? I just feel it's something that, hey, crazy nurse, how are you? Nice to see you. 4 a.m. Lily, where are you at 4 a.m.? You're not, are you in Switzerland? No, I don't think you're. But 4 a.m., you've got to be in. Wow. 8 hours. So that's what, maybe, oh, I think even London is Australia. There we go. Well, my goodness. I am very honored that you are spending your insomnia morning with us. Okay, so yes, please know. Oh, and my other standard disclaimer that I feel the need to make, not for the benefit of you lovely people in the chat and people who sub to me, but for, you know, some of the others that, I don't know, maybe subs of some of these nut jobs. And that is this. Much of what I say is hyperbole, it's humor, and I do not have any hate, animosity, or ill will to any of the people that I am speaking about. And hopefully you don't either, because that gives these people more brain cells of yours than they are worth. Truly, I'm starting to wonder if they don't all need, like, do they all stick together in this group of jackals, this viper pit of just insane anger, jealousy, hate? I mean, is it because it takes all of them to come up with the next disgusting thing that they're going to do? Because let me tell you something. In my opinion, you either are or you are not the kind of person who is willing to say and do the things that they say and do. And if you are, I don't know, I'm sure there's help for you out there somewhere. But this is almost like trauma limbo, let's just call it. You know, the bar keeps going lower and lower and lower. Can you go lower? God, it reminds me of going to the roller skating rink when I was in middle school. I used to have to fight with my mom to let me go too. Like on Friday night in, probably 7th, 8th grade. My mom would always say, I don't like you going there. I'd beg. I'm like, Mom, come on, please. All the kids are going. And then naturally we'd pull in the parking lot and I would say, Mom, just drop me off over there. Nope, I'm pulling up to the front. But somewhere between backward skate and couples only, I seem to remember a limbo stick being involved. And that's what this shit is turning into. Like, we just keep lowering the bar. Low. Can you go lower? Kind of like on the Himalaya. Do you want to go faster? Do you want to go backwards? No, I want to get off the ride. That would have been an unfortunate clip. Oh, God. So, yes. When I leave my office and I shut the door, like, that's it, I'm done. I try to not even watch YouTube at night, except for, some of my favorite channels that go live in the evening. Savage Live and the girls. I do try at least once or twice a week to definitely go into that chat because they make me laugh. And we all need to laugh. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to laugh about with these ass clowns. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I can explain it or understand it because I cannot, because I'm not this kind of person. And I'm sure there are people that think I'm a raging bitch, to which I would say, well, to people who deserve it, I am. And go ahead and find me somebody that I've drugged that doesn't deserve it. And all I'm doing is I'm holding a mirror up to them. because I think they all, I don't know if they all have like the magic mirror from Romper Room back in the day. Does anybody remember Romper Room? The lady had a hand mirror, and it literally spun in the graphic was like a spiral, and it was two different colors, kind of like one of those big lollipops. If it turned, I wonder if these idiots, like, I'm quite certain, at least for a few of them, whatever mirror they have, a very generous sub probably provided it to them off their Amazon wish list. Oh, you know what I was thinking? What do you remember? Robert Hippie? Yes, Robert. Oh my God, I love that. What was her name? Miss Who? Oh God, I think the host had the same name all the time, and it was Miss Somebody. Hi, sweet Rockin' Robin. How you doing? The wish list. I'm gonna make my own wish list on Amazon. I don't have a lot that I'm gonna put on it, but just the stuff I really want. I'll go ahead and buy my own, throw pillows for my futon that cost $8.99. I'll go ahead and cover that shit. But if y'all could, help me out with that Porsche Panamera I want, I would be most grateful. And while we're at it, I think I'm going to need a new Chanel tote bag to sit next to me in the Panamera. And I might, I was thinking a vacation home would be nice. Maybe I love North Carolina. That's where we talk about retiring. So, hey, if y'all are feeling extra generous, maybe I should jump on board this wish list thing. But I can only imagine if I had a wish, if my mother, now I don't know, maybe I have a different, well, we're not going to bring mothers into it. I'm just going to say that I'm pretty sure if my mother found out that I was grifting on YouTube for, everything from the toilet paper I wipe my ass with to, futon throw pillows and very ugly mass-produced wall art, I'm pretty sure that she would call me up and say, what in the hell are you? What? I hope you don't have your name on there. I don't want my friends to see that. I swear to God, that's what my mom would say. She truly would. Like, hey, I got these manners and decorum from somewhere. And, that's just, it's not in the order I had it in, but while we're talking about it, I think all these jackrags, ass clown, pimp people, I'm sure most of them have never met a book, but I'm going to suggest one. Well, I could suggest several, but the one they need most is Emily Post Etiquette. And believe it or not, it has not changed that much since way back in the day. In fact, I think it's Emily Post's granddaughter or great-granddaughter that is now editing the Emily Post Guide to Etiquette. I would highly recommend they put that on the wish list. And, should they like to read any other books that don't involve pictures? I have lots of suggestions. I've read a lot of books. Okay. Got that. And what I always say, I am not, contrary to what these people will say, I am not a hater. I would have to first like you greatly to then hate you. Not a hater. I am a commentator. I am, unlike them, I don't leave the confines of this monitor. This is where I stay. I use this. And only what is served up to me on a silver tray, like when you're at an event and the the waiter, the waitress walks by with the tray and you just, anybody who's ever been a waitress knows that that's a no-no. You're not supposed to take anything off the tray yourself because it can upset the balance. So that's all I comment on, what they give us. So I'm not a hater. I am loud and proud, will admit that I am using them to build a channel. I am exploiting them for my interests, kind of like they exploit seemingly everyone they look at if they can make a buck off of them. I'm not making any money. That's not what I'm here for. But I feel like something good should come from all the bad they do, and that's the YouTube circular economy, as I like to call it. So don't get it twisted. Not a hater. Don't think enough about you to hate you. You are a means to an end. That's all. Very simple. And I promise you this. If the man above granted the wish of, I'm sure, so very many people, and they just vaporized off the face of the earth tomorrow, it's not like, listen, those people, they only have what they have. They have a plastic flea market purse full of tricks, things they can do. And it's a pochette. It's a very small purse. It's an evening bag. I have a giant tote bag. So it's a means to an end. That's all it is. And I for one would prefer that there wasn't this to talk about, but no matter how much you try and stay out of it, it's really almost impossible. It truly is. And once people have seen that you will speak to what they're doing, that tends to be what people who don't agree want to see. And I mean, it's not that complicated. Yes. When you green, evil, and ugly, when they collide, they create the tragedy pimps. That's what they are. Some of them are more of one, less of another. And maybe evil is a bit strong of a word for all of them. I'm not going to assign that to all of them. Most of them. I mean, that's a subjective term. One person's evil is another person's, hustle to make a buck. So that's just my opinion. I'm not telling you how to think. You make up your own mind. You have your own thoughts about these people. I'm just feel like this has to stop somewhere, this behavior. It's not my job to make it stop. I will never do that. This monitor is as far as it goes. This is a hobby for me, which is probably why I can be a little more objective than they can. But where does this stop? And when do people who are in the community stand up and say, enough? I mean, I truly, the fact that they don't mind being drugged for filth. I mean, when I'm done here today, a couple of them are going to be picking gravel out of their ass with needle nose pliers or tweezers, as they should be. And it's, you know, it's one thing to have a thick skin and to be able to, like the person who came in here yesterday talking just idiocy. I know that's an idiot and I know it's not true. So I just laugh. But it's quite another thing when people are calling you out on things that are true and you know you've done. So, and that to me tells me if you're happy and you're cool with large groups of people just dragging you up and down with just cause, that kind of tells me that, you know, something up here, well, let's just say I don't think it functions like mine does or yours does. Hi, Michelle, how are you? Yes, you're right. They will do anything for $1. That's certainly what it seems. Mike Stevens, don't you think Betty has an interesting true crime channel? I love it. You know, Mike, listen, I can't account for anybody's taste. And I don't have any problem with anybody digging Betty's true crime. Because, you know, to me, Betty put the true in the crime. She's had a few of her own crimes. So it's not about that. This is not, and I know Mike's just yanking my chain. But that's okay because it is a valid point. This is not about, it's not about numbers for me. That's not what drives me. I have some free time on my hands and I don't like to play Sudoku, whatever that's called. I need to keep my, you know, my mind working and active. If you don't use it, you lose it. And I've always been that person who, you know, for better or for worse, good or bad, I have always spoken out when I see something that I don't think is right. So that's all it is. Whose trial is today? Oh my God, you guys, the Netflix Murdoch doc is out. Can I just say this before I get rolling on these dirtbags? You know, no matter what, I don't think there's anybody that would say, well, maybe not. I certainly would never say that Maggie and Paul Murdoch or anyone deserves what they got, because what they got was horrendous and brutal, and clearly there was some very serious hate. That's hate. That's hate. That's evil. And I think he will be found guilty. I mean, to me, all that's coming now until, oh my God, the defense's whole case, prosecution's rebuttal, the whole nine. I was convinced before the GMC OnStar data. That just sealed the deal, cemented it. But, you know, something that, where there's smoke, there's fire, just like with these people. There's a lot of smoke around this family, and there has been a lot of smoke around this family. And anybody, I don't know if anybody that's in the chat saw the show I did. It's been a few weeks back, and I think I titled it something like, I know these people. I do not know the Murdochs, but I absolutely know some families very similar. Probably more money, probably significantly more money. Power, very much standing in the community. But good people, they're not like him. But I know how people like that live. And one thing that it's a really small thing, but it kind of like really got me asking myself the question. All along I've thought it was just dad is the dirtbag. That's clear. The son, I think Paul was a little bastard. I think he absolutely walked around that town like he was the cock of the walk, and his daddy will take care of anything. Or grandpa, handsome will, and what handsome can't take care of, grandpa will, or dad will. I think Buster, anybody who's heard Buster's jail calls with dad, I don't know what to say about him. I think he's maybe that apple doesn't fall far from the tree as far as, a very cold appearing demeanor. But no matter what, he's lost his mother, he's lost his brother. Oh, Mike, yes, Buster does, and that is not a good thing. Swampy 63, how you doing? But here's something that I just keep hearing it in my head, and it I think it says something. Not that, please don't misunderstand. No matter what Paul and Maggie Murdoch got, it should not happen to anyone. But if you go back and you listen to the 911 call when Gloria Satterfield fell, and then, that's what ultimately led to her demise. Now bear in mind, this is a woman that has worked for the family, I believe it was about 20 years, give or take. She, along with several other people who acknowledged that she had told them, and they'd seen with their own eyes, she raised those boys along with their mother and loved them. She had some things to say about Paul. I'm sorry, her best friend, relayed some things that Gloria told her about Paul when he was a kid, involving small animals. But what I keep going back to, whether it's right or wrong, that 911 call, you listen to Maggie when she is talking to the operator. And I'm not sure if it was her first and then Paul or vice versa. But what I do know is this. She was talking just like I'm talking now. I didn't hear, now maybe I didn't hear it all, but what I heard, she was just using a very calm, conversational tone. She didn't sound the least bit upset. And when the operator said, "How old is she?" "I don't know." My mom has had the same housekeeper for about that long, maybe longer. She's watched, oh my God, it has been longer, because she was around when my son was born. And he's 24, close to 25. So that and she works for other people that I know. And I can tell you this, because she works for herself and didn't have great insurance, when she needed something, she needed help. And it wasn't even a question. It was, she got the help she needed. So that spoke to me about possibly the kind of, I don't know, maybe she was Listen, she was married to that man for 25 some odd years. Don't tell me that she didn't know about some, maybe salacious things going on. I don't know. Oh, Michelle. Well, hey, let me tell you. Some people who've had everything in the world they could possibly want, some of them are the laziest. And I know many people who've had really rough starts in life, and they're more productive and successful and sometimes a lot nicer people than those that, my husband always says adversity builds character, and it's true, it does. I mean, obviously it's not ideal to be at either end of the spectrum, whether you have just way too much and you're too indulged or you don't have anything. I mean, if you can be somewhere in the middle, that's the place to be. Hippie, you are right. Money doesn't buy happiness. You know what? I saw the funniest. It was a meme. I think it was a meme. And it said, money can't buy happiness, but it can rent a big ass boat to sail right up next to it. Oh, but that is true. Listen, there's some things in this life that do not care about your bank balance, and your health is one of them. So that is very true. Oh, Sweet Rockin' Robin, are you mean Alex? Because let me tell you something, that dude's got some very odd ticks, I'll just call him. And I noticed Buster on the stand. He's got this thing he does with his hands, kind of similar to Dad. I try to give him every benefit of the doubt because, obviously that kid isn't a very, I wouldn't wish that position on anyone. Mike Stevens, that's funny. I think everybody's parents has said some version of that at some point. So anyway, all right, we're way off a field of that. But I would love to come back and do a whole episode on it, and I'll put a link out and y'all can come up and tell me your thoughts on it. I mean, I think he's guilty of sin, and I think they're going to come back really quick. Robin, I agree. I think Buster, I mean, I've heard that he was definitely the favored son. And I watch it on Emily D. Baker's channel, and she was making a point yesterday that I was like, yes, ask that. And I don't think the prosecution did. I'm behind. I have only seen maybe half of Buster's direct from the defense. But I am going to catch up this weekend. I try to not do any YouTube on the weekends because my husband's home. So I try and keep this, lives and videos confined to the week. And then on the weekend, I watch and, I'll go in the chats or whatever. But she said, well, Buster, how come you weren't? Where were you? And how come you weren't called to come to Moselle? I mean, I don't know. There could be a very legit answer. I don't know. Robin, is that who you watch? Do you watch the trial on Emily D. Baker? I love her. I think she is super smart. And oh, Michelle, let me just tell y'all, we're gonna this is the last I'm gonna say about it before I get to the the other dirt bags. We're gonna do a little math here, kids. Okay, $50,000 a week drug habit, supposedly, right? Okay, so let's do this. I was trying to find a way to get us there. So let's take I believe the highest pill is 80 milligram. I think it's called OxyContin when you get to that milligram. Doesn't matter. It's some form of oxy. Okay, so $80 at $1 a milligram, because that is the street value. And yes, a cop did tell me that. So let's say, even though this is absolutely impossible, let's say that he took 24 a day. So at $80 a pill times 24, that's $19.20 a day times 7 days a week puts us at $13,440 minus $50,000. So we need to come up with another $36,560. So I don't know. I didn't ask about anything else, so I don't know what anything else costs. But even, oh, I did hear, who did I hear talking about? It was one of the lawyers talking about what a kilo of cocaine costs. And I think did they say, no, that couldn't be right. 2,000? Could that be right? No. It doesn't matter. It's not possible, okay? It is not possible. And even I do not give a damn how big his drug habit is. There is nobody that is consuming that. I mean, like I said, 1 an hour. So you're not able to, you can't sleep despite the fact that you're on like massive quantities of narcotics. It's ridiculous. It is, like most everything else they said, ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, you know, when I first came on this platform, I truly did not know that. I mean, the first wrong notion I had was thinking that I would be going into true crime. I thought that's what I was gonna do. And I think I did in the very beginning. But you know, I just one in a sea of many. And what showed me what this game is really about was I came across a Prayer Garden of America video, and I like literally could not believe my ears. Well, there's a reason you don't see her face. And I kind of like this. I felt the need to just say, what in the hell? Who is this woman? And why is she portraying herself as some kind of religious person when she's got a mouth like a sewer and she's just a foul, nasty biatch? And believe it or not, there was an immediate, and for me, an overwhelming response. So naturally, I made another one, and then it became a series. And she was an endless supply of material. Hi, Snickerdoodle, how you are? How you are? Oh my God! You can tell I've been around these dirtbags too long. I'm starting to talk like them. How you are? How you are, Snickerdoodle? I wish I could take credit for that title, but alas, I cannot. I did find that on the internet quite a while back. I don't remember where, but yes, I love it. And I've got more. Don't worry. Not mine. See, I'm not like these people. I'm not going to claim something is my genius if it's not. But alas, but I agree. It's a great, whoever came up with it, mad props. Okay, so that was that. And then PG led to Ernie Shell, and then and on it went. And then it's kind of like quicksand. Once you put your foot in, people see your strength or what you're willing to do, that's what they want. And you're either going to give them what they want or, stick to whatever you think you want to do. I just happen to, this is easy for me to do because you are getting I'm actually holding back. You are getting my raw, almost 100% thoughts coming from here and here. And, I try not to speak just from emotion. Emotion is what drives it. But this is very easy for me to do. I have notes because I'm old and I can't remember shit. Short-term things. I can remember things that happened 50 years ago, but so anyway, who's going to have a nervous breakdown? Earth. I'm here for it. If it's one of these dirt bags, I am so here for it. Oh, Earth, are you talking about Emily? Because this trial is never ending. It just goes on and on and on and on. Alabama, thank you. Alabama watched my Prayer Garden of America series. Oh, God almighty. She, by far, was a gift. I used to joke that, when I first saw, because listen, you guys, I was absolute obscurity. I still am absolute security, okay? Obscurity. I am not under any illusions about that. But I was truly, I didn't talk to anybody in the, in chats or anything. I was absolutely unknown. Nobody gave a shit. I'm talking videos that I was trying to make about serious, more serious, news like Betty. I went from getting maybe 12 views to, as soon as I did that prayer garden thing, hundreds. Well, that's a big thing when you are nobody on here. And I used to joke as the numbers would grow. I used to joke around with her and tell her, PG, girl, I'm going to buy you a fruit basket. You have done so much for my channel. I feel like I owe you at least a damn edible arrangement. And then it went to a car and oh God, it was just hilarious. It was hilarious. Of course, it was hilarious at her expense. But I promise you guys this, you are never going to see me do what these dirtbags do. I do not go after innocent people who don't deserve it. Prayer Garden of America is a foul-mouthed, mean, illiterate-sounding viper, okay? She speaks horribly to people. I will never in 1,000,000 years understand what the hell is the draw. I don't get it. Hooked on phonics? That's a good place to maybe start. But I've moved up the food chain to these people. So that's kind of how I got here. And I promise you this, son of a bitch. Sorry, you guys. I think I'm gonna have to switch to these glasses. Yeah, I don't feel like jumping down there to get the black ones. I promise you this. I really had no idea that this sector, will just say, how it's really just, this is just like this is like a nonstop telethon is what it is. Anybody who's older can remember back in the day, there was the Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethon where he would raise money for muscular dystrophy. And By the end of the telethon, Jerry had been up for a few days. Back then you could smoke on stage. And his big thing was, do y'all remember, he would say, when they'd be checking in on the totals, he'd say, give me I think it's called a timpani. And it's like that fancy, yes. I didn't realize that this is basically just like a fundraising operation for people's pockets. And one thing I meant to mention the other day when I said I'm not going to have any sympathy hate, was this. There is no way for me or any other normal person to know and keep up with everybody who hates everybody and the tentacles, how deep do they go and how far do they walk? No, it's like, I'm not going to shit talk someone just because you don't like them and you've got a problem with them. I'm a grown up. I know how to handle that kind of thing. Many people on here do not. So, you know, if you need that in a creator, if that's part of the bargain and you supporting them, like I have to hate who you hate, etc., then I'm not the one for you. So I don't have problems with people who haven't either hurt me or, you know, someone close to me. And it's got to be pretty egregious. But I'm a big girl and I can make up my own mind about, you know. Okay. Yep. The pimp people, as I like to call them, they seem to be willing to check their humanity and their pride at the door every morning. And it's kind of like an anything goes, all in the name of whatever, self-promotion and money. I don't know what else it could be. I don't talk about people unless I feel strongly that they're wrong. And this shit's never going to stop until everybody tries to get at least in the same book. We're not all going to be on the same page, but what I saw yesterday, and we're getting there, I promise, just absolutely disgusting. Yeah. You know what I wrote down? All you dirtbags, what you all so desperately need is something you cannot buy. You might be able to rent it, but it's going to take a lot. Because y'all need some class, you need some dignity, you need some humanity. How about even, because that's probably too tall of an order. So how about, I don't know, could we all be grown-ups and agree that children, anyone's children, are off limits? Period, end of story. You need psychiatric help. If you think that anyone's child should be subject to your venomous hate, children are innocent, kind of like animals. They're the only things on this planet, as far as I'm concerned, that are innocent. And even that's not off limits. Hold on a minute, you guys. I turned the blinds the wrong way. Hold on, I'm gonna get a big old blast of sun here. Oh God. Okay, much better. Okay. Yeah, we're at an all-time low with these people. And all I can say is, man, if you're that much of a dirtbag and you want to swim in that swamp, well, don't be surprised when your own child becomes the target of some nutbag like you. I mean, honestly, I don't even have the words. I don't have enough words. But don't worry, I did write a few down. It's just the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. No boundaries, no soul, no class, no dignity. I mean, I just don't get it. What kind of a piece of trash are you that you're going to get people's children involved? Are you in the 5th grade? I don't, listen, I don't hate anybody in this world. I can't stand any of these people. But I would never in a million years want to see their children drug into any of this cesspool that goes on here. Dude Farrow, how are you, Dr. Farrow? It's just, it's foul. It is so low. To me, once you go there, do not talk to me. I got nothing to talk to you about. You are, I mean, we have to reach a bottom somewhere. We have to. I mean, it's just the natural consequence of all this. What's it going to be? I mean, are we going to end up in a Jenny Jones situation? Who remembers the talk show, Jenny Jones? I think that was her name. It was back in, probably the early to mid 90s. And they did one of these like gotcha episodes. And it was shitty what they did. They, they brought somebody on. It was like, oh, someone has a secret. So this guy comes on, and the secret was his, I don't know if it was a friend, but it was a friend who wanted to be more than a friend. And, he was not happy about it. He was embarrassed. And he ended up killing the guy. I mean, we are not talking about a bunch of rap-type mensas here, okay? It's clear that they're bringing people's kids into this shit. That tells me they're pretty much willing to go anywhere. I mean, oh, Alabama, don't worry, I'm getting there. I got thoughts for that one. And let me tell you something, Mallory. I've extended every courtesy to you. You want to act subhuman? You're going to get treated subhuman. You don't get to walk around this place demanding respect. And as far as I'm concerned, addressing you as you would like to be addressed, that's respect. You don't give anybody anything that even remotely resembles that. So guess what? That's only going to go so far with me. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm putting it out there right now, and I'm going to say it again further down in the program. Stop wrapping yourself in that rainbow flag, okay? As a shield against your shitty behavior. I'm no trans basher. I don't care if you're lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual. I don't care. I don't give a shit what's under your dress or your pants or how you want to be addressed. Don't care. As long as you're not hurting me, I don't care. You're a shitty person. That's why I'm addressing you. It's got nothing to do with anything else. So let's not get that twisted, okay? And don't worry, we're going to go over that again. Because I know how these people roll. And they think that they get to go around disrespecting, just being foul, hateful. But we are supposed to bow down and submit. I only do that to Savage Live. Our OG mother. Line with heels in the air. You know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I don't know what little fantasy world y'all got going around up here where you think that you just do whatever you want. I mean, honest to God, these people are like fucking terrorists on here. They are like terrorists who have taken over this community. And if you speak against them with truth, well, you better buckle up, Buttercup, because they're going to use whatever sleazy, dirty tricks are necessary to shut you up. This kind of shit has gone on throughout time in much more serious situations than this. But it's the same thought process. You get these maniacal people who get a hold of some power or money, and in the case of these people, a way to make money without really working, kind of like how to succeed at life without really trying, kind of one of those things. And they want to fiercely hold on to that. So if you dare to speak against it or get in their way or attempt to get in their way, look out. I mean, there are some very, very ill people on here. And maybe that's not their fault. But this place does not exactly lend itself to civility, let's just say. Mallory, House of Williams. This is from yesterday. This is from yesterday where I left off in the afternoon. Don't worry, we're getting to last night. But first, Mallory, I know you think you are so funny and a comedic genius. You're not. Much like Bullhorn Betty needs to scream at you about her job, legal professional, blah, blah, blah. You do the same thing, except yours is people, 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 people. Typically people who are entertaining or comedic geniuses, like the thing speaks for itself. I think in law, I know there's a paralegal in the chat. Is that not res ipsa loquitur? Is that the thing speaks for itself? Let's just see. Whatever the Latin legal term is for it, it stands. The thing speaks for itself. The thing doesn't have to scream it at you. The thing doesn't have to rent a crop duster to fly a banner behind it and tell all of YouTube what a genius they are. Bitch, sit down. Sit down. Let's see here. Res ipsa. There we go. Well, look at that. The thing speaks for itself. Gosh, some of that money on that college education was not wasted, apparently. Yeah, the thing speaks for itself now. So my God, why don't you take that off your plate? We know. You are a genius. And she would love you to think that everything she does is in the name of comedy. Hold on, I'm reading something in the chat. I gotta put the glasses on because I can't see. I'm old as dirt, don't you know? Oh, Earth, I know. God bless you. Okay. Yep, just remember, Mal, Bullhorn Betty does the same thing, except she screams about how smart she is. Like yesterday, Betty in this lipstick, which is MAC, by the way. What is that called? I just love this shade. Lavender Jade. you know, Mal, hey, I'm sure you can always appreciate some makeup suggestions. Yeah, Betty has to scream all the time about how smart she is. So I don't know. Maybe just use that as your like reference, because she's not smart. No matter how much she screams it at us, it doesn't make it so. And I don't know. I would think most people don't find you nearly as funny as you find yourself. I was here for your lip syncing videos, however. I very much enjoyed those. You sang a couple songs where I was like, now damn. Yeah, of course, this was back before I knew who and what you were, but that maybe should be your lane. I think this, true crime thing, because now, I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I think, you probably are wearing the crown today for the most hated bitch on YouTube, except with your tribe, of course. So what I was going to say yesterday, before Mal gifted us with some much greater foul shit than this. Thanks for that, by the way. But the last thing I was going to say was Heels in the Air's video. It was very short, maybe 30 seconds. And it was you opining on Queen Bee. Now, I've never been on Queen Bee's panel. I've just recently found her channel, but hey, she's doing something right. She's got a hell of a lot of people in there every day. And it's, unlike the tragedy pimp people, I mean, people are actually like laughing and having fun in there, and not just at other people's, well, maybe at your expense, but y'all take yourself so seriously, like you guys have fucking degrees in pimping. Well, if that's the case, I mean, some of you are definitely in the doctoral program. Some of you are at Kaiser College, Betty's alma mater. But I just want to quote a little bit of what she had to say about Queen Bee. Now, bear in mind, this is a transgendered, I guess it's the proper term is transgendered woman. Someone that I would imagine feels that she is in a, what is the term? Damn it, I always forget. It'll come to me. But basically, not disadvantaged isn't the word. What? God damn it, why can't I remember it? Y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? I'm sure she feels like she's got a lot of rights that need to be protected, blah, blah, blah. And I've never been anything in that regard. I have never addressed her as anything except Mallory, or made any comments alluding to anything else. But I tell you what, that's just a courtesy because I'm a decent person. That ain't gonna last forever. That's all I'm gonna say. You don't extend any respect to anyone else. So I'm really like, my give a shit is really getting up and going. She said, as she was opining, I guess, on her thoughts on whether or not Queen Bee was actually a woman because of her voice. She does have a very distinctive voice. It kind of reminds me of Kathleen Turner. And that's not a bad thing. Okay. And Mallory said, quote, she is supposedly a cisgender woman, end quote. I have a couple questions. I literally had my husband look this up for me because I was busy doing something else. And I'm like, honey, I said, what the fuck is a cisgendered woman. Now, I've heard the term, but I wanted to know, what exactly does that mean? And why would she call her that? If not as a, and coming from her, that is very rich. That's all I'm going to say. Why not? I mean, if that was not to try and shame or humiliate, I mean, what was it? I don't know. I don't want to get in that head, so I can't answer it. I mean, that's my guess, though. So my husband looked it up, and cis, C-I-S, is Latin for on this side, meaning you identify as the same-sex person you were born. Was there some reason we can't just say woman? I mean, do we have to say cis because it makes you feel better? Because I don't give a fuck what makes you feel better. You want to know what my pronouns are? Fuck and you. Those are my pronouns. God, you're vile. I wish you would just sit down and shut the hell up. Hey, Morning Glory, how are you? Disenfranchised? Yeah, marginalized. Yes, the old broad remembered. Marginalized. I would imagine that Mallory fancies herself in a marginalized group of people. That's not me saying that. That's me saying that's what I would imagine her feelings are. But listen, honey, we're going to go back to elementary school when hopefully your mom and your dad and maybe your teachers taught you. You don't just walk around up in here and demand respect. As far as, from what I can see, you don't give any. None. And you excuse every shitty, nasty thing you say and do. You wrap yourself in that trans flag. Oh, it's you know, I'm a trans. What did she say to that guy in Memphis? Listen, bitch. Nobody was doing a slur to you. You looked like a damn hot mess lunatic. And, you know, could it possibly be that they looked at you and said, what the hell? I mean, I'm sorry. I would have crossed the street to get to the other side, to get away from you if I'd have been. But it wouldn't have had anything to do with your pronouns. Because I don't give a shit what your pronouns are. It's what's inside you. So you can just call me a woman, okay? I don't need to be a cis woman. I'm a woman. I mean, because maybe that makes me feel marginalized. Everybody did hear my pronouns, right? Fuck and you. Let me, since I had to look up part of your vernacular, I thought I'd look up a little word for you to introduce all of you, Tragedy Pimps, to irony. Now, if I thought any of you ever read a book, well, you know, maybe you'd know about irony. It's in a lot of movies. It's probably in your daily life. I mean, but let me read to you what Google had to say. Meet irony, please. Meet my friend Irony. I'm a huge fan of irony in all forms, but I felt the one that most applied to you all is the following definition. Quote, a state of affairs or an event that seems deliberately contrary to what one expects and is often amusing as a result. Now I'm going to give you a tragedy pimp example of irony. And this clip came from the channel is Jonesin, which I've also just very recently become acquainted with. I like her. I think she kind of reminds me of me. I like the way she puts things. So, Jonesin, shout out to you. And thank you for Morning Glory. Well, that could very well be true, because I know I've seen you as many different people. Okay. So here's Dolly Vision on, oh God, and I hate to even go back to this insanity, but alas, here we are. Dolly Vision talking about when they were out acting the damn fool, white trash, making the entire neighborhood where Quentin Simmons lived a living nightmare. Yeah, remember the woman on hospice care that wasn't able to die at home because you ass clowns were out there disturbing the peace? Because you can, because it's your right. Yeah. So this is Dolly explaining why he did what he did. Now, let's bear in mind, when I say why he did what he did, I don't just mean when he snatched the bullhorn. Boy, it's too bad you didn't snatch another bullhorn right by the bullhorn's horn. F that up. I meant to say by that bull whore's horns. Maybe that bull needs a good ride. I don't know. Maybe she'd be nicer. God almighty. Oh God. I can't. Like, oh God, bring back Baby Shark. I can't have that. I can't have that even anywhere near my cerebellum real estate. So yeah, here's a little bit of Dolly explaining, justifying why he spoke to Eileen, who, for the record, I know nothing about Eileen, except that Eileen felt some type of way for whatever reason. But the irony of two ass clowns raising hell in a neighborhood, making life miserable, not just for their target, who, by the way, at that time had not been charged with anything. There was no proof for all their little things they concocted up here for the sake of this. Because losers with criminal records like they have found a way via their subs to make a living doing what they're doing. I mean, I don't get it, but I don't give them my money. So it's, I can't explain it. I think it's very unfortunate. I don't think that shitty behavior and horrible people should be rewarded for said behavior. But unfortunately, I'm not running this bitch. If I was, I promise you, things would be a lot different. So the irony in how unglued he became, and Big Mouth Bullhorn Betty too, she was unglued. Because Eileen, who I don't know a damn thing about, Eileen had the audacity to think she had some kind of right to go to that neighborhood and push a stroller with a dog in it, maybe two dogs, I don't know. I tried not to watch it. So while it was okay for them to terrorize a whole neighborhood, and don't let them try and paint any kind of a different picture, because we all saw it. And maybe people weren't going up and knocking on the neighbors' doors and saying, hi, could we get a comment about these fucknuts that are standing out on the curb, screaming foul things in improper English? Take my word for it. Nobody on that street that had to suffer through that wanted them there. But see, low marble count people like this, they don't have what the rest of us have that keeps us from doing shit like that, which is probably why, at least in some small part, we don't all have records like them. Except for my white collar crime I committed 35 years ago when I was 18. So these are just a couple gems that I heard Dolly use to try and explain all of that. And I'm sure everybody knows this by now, where I'm going with this. But Dolly, in case you're listening, there's no explanation. There's no excuse. You spoke to that woman like she was subhuman. I have never, and I mean this, I'm not exaggerating, I've never heard a man speak to a woman like that. Now, maybe it's because I don't hang out where you hang out. I don't know. But I can promise you there is no man in my family or my life I have ever heard speak that way. And to talk that way, my God, it would be bad enough if it was like that was your spouse or your girlfriend and you guys were having some, knockdown, drag out, literally, not figuratively. I mean, the opposite, figuratively, not literally. I mean, it would be bad enough if it was, but, in some cases you can, listen, we've all had fights with our husbands or boyfriends or whatever. So it's not hard to understand how people's, their mouth can start going faster than their brain. We've all had that happen. But to speak that way to someone that you don't even know, just because, what did she do? That is still what I need to know. She was far more respectful than you assholes. They do not want. There's two things they cannot stand. You can't hold a mirror up to them. And don't even think about looking at their friggin' their Google checks. Or whoever the hell pays them, I don't know. Revival, hello, and you are correct. His IQ was on full display. Oh, yes, it was. He's not a chess player, let's just say that. There is no Mensa meeting looking for Dolly. In response, I guess while he was, here he is in all his glory. Dolly, how come you never take why don't you ever take that hat off? Why, kind of like somebody told me I should, I should cam up with no makeup and no, fancy clothes. How come you don't ever show who you really are? Like, take the hat off, take the sunglasses off. Instead of your very high-tech looking Fox News style studio, I mean, why not just show your busted up looking trailer with your neon green paint? I don't know, maybe that's harder to donate to. But whatever, I don't care what you do. But you're sitting back, smoking out, pontificating. I love when stupid people try and make you think they're smart. And this is what he had to say about why he, I guess, snatched the bullhorn. Quote, She was talking about my mom, talking about Molly's mom. ... So I snatched the bullhorn out of her hands. So while I would readily admit that no one should speak on anyone else's mom, I will not. I've let a few things go on by that I could. There was something last week about Betty's mom, and the only thing I was willing to say is that I had just recently found out her mom works in her channel as a mod. Like, because unlike you dirtbags, I do believe that there are things that are sacred, places you don't go. And I totally understand why it would be very upsetting to have anyone talking about anyone's mom. It's not right to do. But guess what? You don't get to pick and choose which of the, tenets of respect we all get to follow. I don't go there because I'm a better person than you guys are. I'm not going to talk about your kids. I'm not going to talk about your mom. But if someone does, I mean, do you really think you can, is this where you're planting your flag? You think you got some big moral high ground here? You don't. My God, there isn't enough that people could say to counter the shit you guys have done. I mean, you do realize that you village idiots, which is what you are, you're friggin' former criminals, and not just one and dones. You're not educated. You don't have real impressive resumes. But all of you think that you get to sit back with all your wisdom on YouTube, being a tragedy pimp, and Betty's vast, sea of legal knowledge. I guess she's the group lawyer, jailhouse lawyer. And you think that you all get to sit back and decide who you think has done something wrong based on nothing more than shit you've seen on YouTube, and that you are totally justified in going and camping in front of their house and screaming like lunatics, saying the most foul, disgusting, vile things, just because that's what you call a job. So kind of like your real life job was, entry level. Is that what you're saying? And after seeing that clip so many times, you know what I keep going back to? I keep thinking to myself, if this is the kind of shit that they do in full view of the entire platform and anybody who clicks on here, what the hell do they do behind closed doors? I mean, we have prisons full of people who can't follow the rules of life because their mouth gets ahead of their brain, their emotions get way ahead of both. And it's like, I don't see. I truly hope that this is not, I'm afraid it is, but it's like, if this is a commentary on society at large, that these kind of people, these are not accomplished people. They're not smart. They don't have great personalities. Some have much more than others. And I would be willing to bet that a very large part of their audience is giving them money that they can ill afford to give. But, I mean, a fool and his money shall soon part ways. Oh, here was another good thing that Dolly was talking about. Something about Queen Bee running a crack house. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's no one that believes that. I mean, I certainly do not. I have no reason to. But, hey, Christina, how are you? Here's what he said. This is the part I wrote down. I'm sure he said more than this. Quote, I've been knowing who she is all this time. Full stop. Mic drop. Done with him. I think that says it all. Dolly, go back to 5th grade English class, okay? Because I don't want anybody to misunderstand when I say that. I am not talking about people who have, because I'm from the South too, okay? You don't get much further south than Florida. Not in this country. Well, actually, my husband said there are parts of Texas and California that are further south, but for the purposes of our discussion, we'll just stick with Florida. I'm not talking about a dialect or regional vernacular, like using the word ain't, using other slang that is widely used by a group of people. No, I'm talking about being illiterate sounding and uneducated, and that ain't cute, okay? And when you say I've been knowing, how did he put it? I've been knowing. Okay. Yeah, they're the only ones who are allowed to behave badly, okay? I hope everybody got that message. And just for the record, Eileen, and I don't need to know anything about her because it has no bearing on the fact that she had every right in the world to be walking down the street with her dogs in a stroller and to tell you idiots that you're a bunch of dumbasses. I mean, you're screaming at the people in the house that they're baby killers, murderers, prostitutes, drug addicts. I mean, what didn't you say would be easier to narrow down? So do you see the irony in that? That you all think it's okay to behave that way and to encourage your sheeple to come join you in that pursuit. Although I think most of them are much smarter than you guys because not many of them showed up. And the final thing that I'm going to say about him, and oh, the irony is this. It is the height of hypocrisy and irony too. When, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully here because I'm not them. And there are things that are off limits and sacred, at least for me. So I'm going to say this. it's the height of hypocrisy and irony that you are traveling all over this country, and oh, I don't know, I'm sure you'd like to travel the globe under the guise of finding kids, saving kids, when you had a niece who needed someone to save her. And as far as I know, you didn't do that. I'm not going to speak anymore on that because it's not my place to do it. And everybody knows what was contained in the court documents and the custody of that child. And anybody who really wants to know, you can find it. I'm not going to speak any more on it because I'm just not. But pretty ironic and very hypocritical. Yep, I sure hope that these disgusting tragedy pimps, I really hope their day is coming. I am here for it, and I will be laughing my ass off whatever it is that comes their way, whether it's karma, whether it's YouTube, whether it's the law. It won't be me. I know that. I am wrapped very tight. This is just, a hobby. This is my sport. This is how I keep, my mental acuity sharp. Oh, so now we're at Mallory from yesterday, from last night, with probably, of everything I've seen besides Quentin's house and what those wretched, horrible assholes did out there, this might have, they're two different things. So they're in my top 1 and 2. And I guess ask me the day of the week and I'll tell you which one is worse. But Mallory, first of all, I'm going to give her a compliment. Because, I'm getting ready to say some things you probably don't want to hear. That doesn't mean you don't need to hear them. Your hair looked very nice. And I would suggest, if that is your real hair, which I believe it was, my goodness, please take that disgusting disco afro mess you had on your head and burn that. Oh God. So yes, there's my positive. Her hair looked nice. However, I would suggest maybe, girl, is your estrogen okay? Because you're looking a little bloated. And hey, hormones can be a bitch. Okay. So I don't know, you might want to just go to your OBGYN and get those hormones checked, because I don't know, maybe the nasty shit you're doing is taking a toll on your soul. I don't know. But yeah, you might want to, that's just a helpful hint from me to you, because I know that, I don't take hormones. I don't have to, but sometimes you do. And oh Lord, if they're out of whack, oh my goodness, that could also account for some of the really horrible, terrible behavior too. You could, when your hormones are out of whack, it can just make you kind of crazy. So I listened to Queen Bee from, I guess it was last night or end of the day. I don't know. But they were talking about Mallory's video about Dre McRae, and Manatee Molly was in her chat, super chatting her. Although I think what was hilarious is she only got like $2. Mal, I keep telling you, boy, you better milk that cow for all you can get, because I'm telling you, she's going to drop you like you're hot as soon as it's in her interest to do so. And then all these years that you have been slaving and grinding away on here are just your fame of the moment is just going to dissipate like a very sad cloud of smoke. Oh, speaking of grinding, I mean, I hate to bring this up because it's not very ladylike, but I'm sorry. I couldn't figure out what the hell it was. And then some people talked about it, and they say it's something you do all the time. And I don't know because I don't watch you. But I thought, oh, God, good Lord. If that's... I didn't have the same take that they did. They thought it was some kind of like, I don't know, not a performance thing, but like a habit, maybe. I don't know. And in part, I might agree. Yeah, you were like, you do this weird like thing in your seat, like grinding in your seat. You're like moving all around. But I thought, maybe it was an adjustment. Maybe she had to make an adjustment. I mean, she's not adjusting. Well, I don't know. I guess she could have been. If I do that, it's because, maybe my thong is out of place. But she could have an added issue to that. I don't know. But yeah, it looked very uncomfortable. And it's awkward for us to watch. So I don't know. Maybe, oh God, maybe like, I try and, check, make sure there's not lipstick on my teeth and that kind of stuff. Maybe, I don't know, maybe do that beforehand. Although, I don't know, you've been on here for, what, a decade? The hardest, funniest woman on YouTube? Well, hell, you don't need pointers from me. What do I know? I'm just a cisgendered bitch. No, I'm just a woman. Please don't call me a cis anything. Oh, yeah. I actually kind of feel sorry more for you than for Molly, because clearly I think you two are both miserable, unfulfilled, bottomless pits who need a level of attention that probably no human can provide. I mean, normal people do not go on TV and tell the world that they were a prostitute. Whether it was true or not, who cares? And then we got this one who's literally, there is nothing that this beast, you are a creature. You are a creature in a dress and a shitty wig. Wear your own hair, Mel. It's much better than the wig. I mean, how do you get to a place in your life where you are willing? What is your problem? Both of you wretched bitches. What is your problem with this Dre McRae? It is none of your goddamn business what goes on in her home, in her life, with her family. My God, don't you have your own life? Where do you have time to do this shit? I truly, and I don't want to hear the bullshit about, oh, well, we're worried about Marvon. You don't give a shit about him or anybody else that you exploit for a shekel. You just don't. And I swear to God, I might actually have a modicum of respect if you just would come out and say, look, this is how I make a living. I find people that I can step on, that I can exploit, that I can use their misery, their tragedy for my own benefit. So shut the hell up, bitch. I mean, at least you be honest. And y'all, like, to me, for me personally, like, there's nothing. I've seen enough from all of them, and there is nothing that these two could do or say that would ever make me think they were decent human beings. I don't. I think that they're terrible. And Mallory, you said two things last night. The same shit you've been getting drugged for, I'm sure, since the words left your mouth. And you deserve every bit of it. And that is this. Quote. This man, speaking of Marbon, this man literally said you weren't enough for him to keep himself going in this earth. Those children weren't enough for him to keep himself going in this earth. I would have said on this earth, but I wouldn't have said this because I'm not a soulless, wretched creature in a dress like you are. I mean, congratulations. I'm giving you the trophy this week for most depraved. That is next level sick shit. And Molly, shame on your big ass. That bitch, she's not a mother, Mallory. She's never gonna be. So at least I can say with full confidence that she has no earthly idea what it is to be a mother. Because if she did, she would never go around saying something so filthy, vile, foul. It is just disgusting. It truly is. I mean, I barely have, it's not often that I can't come up. Well, there's a lot I could say, but that's the stuff I say to my husband. See, because I don't think you guys have anything that you save for where it's supposed to be, which is the privacy and the confines of your own home. No, you put all your shit out there for YouTube, for content. How the fuck do you think you know any of this? You didn't know that man. And my understanding is he is a veteran. Boy, I bet. Oh. Mal, have you ever been in the service? I'm really about done extending the respect to you that I don't feel you deserve. And it's more done because I know how this bullshit goes. And you would use that. If I came out and said, you know what? Shove it up your ass. I'll refer to you as XYZ. I don't have to humor your delusion. %, at least, of my not having done that already is because I don't want to insult other people that are trans. Because I don't have a problem with trans people. I have a problem with you because you're a shitty person. Whether you're trans, transsexual, bisexual, heterosexual, asexual, don't care. None of that matters to me. But I know exactly what you would do. You would take that and run with it. And it would be, oh, my, this, what do they call that? Bash. Oh, trans bashing. She's trans bashing me. No, I'm bashing you because you suck. And the other 50% is because I've got way more dignity and respect about myself and that I try to extend to other people than you ever will. You're pathetic. You are pathetic. And when your whole life is some kind of a gimmick, as far as when I say that, I mean who you portray yourself as on YouTube. It must really suck to be so desperate for attention and so desperate to not have to have a real job that you turn to doing literally anything to get yourself to the top of the food chain. And let's keep this in perspective, okay? Look where we're talking about. This isn't like you're trying to get a deal with, Discovery for a 18-part series on blah, blah, blah. No, you're just playing around in the true crime trauma gutter. And I do emphasis on gutter with your buddies. I mean, do you understand there's a reason that there's so many of you, which is really just a handful. There's a handful of you, whole bunch of assholes that so many people come for on the daily. Why do you think that is? Because we're jealous, right? None of you have anything that I want. Not a damn thing. Nothing. And nothing, I know Molly thinks she's the top of your food chain, and she very well may be, but that ain't saying much. And even if she is, I can promise you there is nothing that Molly has now, has had in the past, or is going to have in the future that I haven't already been there, done that, and had, or will have. Okay? So let's not get that twisted. It's got nothing to do with any of that. I promise you, Molly feels like the big, she's the big swinging dick of your, oh boy, that's ironic too, isn't it? Yeah, she's the big swinging dick of the tragedy pimp posse. She's the president. That's okay. We'll give it to her. But y'all are a whole ass joke, okay? Bitter, spiteful, exploitive, hateful, jealous, cruel, ugly, thirsty, beast, empty, pathetic, soulless, depraved. But your hair does look good. So there is that. Let it never be said I can't throw a compliment. I am the illusion. It's me, Heather. Oh, Heather, I agree. I agree. Although, do you think it's going to happen? Oh, God, y'all, I don't have my air on and I closed my office door. And now it's getting hot. Do you think, really? Oh, she's definitely made the bed. But do we actually think she's going to sleep in it? Does anybody think, are we finally there? Are we at the tipping point where enough? Like, what is it going to take for people to stop supporting this? And we're not the ones supporting it. It's their people. I mean, that's what bothers me, because clearly they're cool with this. I got to open my office door up. I don't know. I sure hope you're right, but I don't know. I tend to think not. I don't think we're at that point yet. I mean, oh God, it feels kind of good to stand up. I'm going to stand up for a minute. My sciatic nerve is killing me. Okay. Yeah, why do y'all, here's what I want to know. I want to know why you hate this Dre McRae so much, besides the fact that you're bitterly jealous. Okay, we all got that. That has come through loud and clear. What's wrong, Pumpkin? Hi, what are you doing? In a minute, okay? The dog's like, no, Mom, now. Oh God, it feels so good to stand up. Yeah, why do you hate her so much? What do you want from her? What does she have to do to make this stop for her children? And what did her kids do to you, Mallory? You friggin' pig. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate to call anybody that, but I'm sorry. I just think it's apropos. I think that's what you are. I think that's who says something like that to somebody's kids? It is so sick. Honest to God, that is next level. I'm trying to think, who of these people have kids? It's like, well, Molly does. Oh, I guess Dolly does. I'm sure it doesn't have anything to do with them. That'd be my guess. I would never, ever. I know Molly's kid's name. I would not even mention that child's name. I would not speak that child's name. There is no reason for that. I will stay as far away from anybody's child as I can get. Because listen, once you've got to go there, you've lost. You have already lost. When you've got to start going to people's children, their spouses, their jobs, all the dirty shit you guys do. Why do y'all do that? Oh, Tuesday child, first of all, hi, how are you? And I agree. Her comment says MGL will go on and on. I also agree with that. BHB is up to unseat her, but it probably won't happen. MGL is president. Yes, I agree. Molly is, to me, hands down, without a doubt, the top of that food chain. She's the smartest. She's the most clever. I'm sure she's the most manipulative. She's definitely got more income than them. She's got more of a real life than them. And when this shit's really going to get good is when Molly and Betty part ways. Do we remember when it happened before? Earth, you're right. Dre McRae is gorgeous. And she also appears to be quite attractive on the inside. Can't say that for any of them. So yeah, what is the goal here? Is it just to humiliate her? I don't get it. Do they want her off of YouTube? What is it? And what did her children do? And what can the children do to make it up to you, Mallory? I mean, and I understand you don't have children, so you can only, there really is something that when you do not have children, whether they're adopted or biological, there are things that you cannot fully understand. And stepkids, I should have thrown those in there too. Because you don't have to be, when I say have kids, I don't mean, that you had to birth said kids. But that doesn't matter. That's what she said about those children. That is so vile and disgusting and foul. And only a reprehensible creature would say such a thing. You don't have to be a parent to know that you don't say things like that. And anybody who thinks, I don't know how old those children are, but if you don't think that at some point they're going to have friends who are going to see this stuff on the internet, they are. And the same goes for Molly. I'm sure her kids' friends have seen a lot of her exploits, and not my problem. But it's too bad that more of these people don't think about those kinds of things, because I can tell you this, if I had a school-age child, no. And if I did have an internet online presence, I would be very careful about what I said and did. Hey, PP Gate, how are you? Listen, let's just get real, okay? All I'm going to say is just look at her. Look at her and look at her state of being and her life that she shows us. And if you think that all of that is the picture of someone who's very secure and blah, 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 I disagree. But it doesn't matter, because I don't care. Yeah, and how about when Mal, when she decided to do a little imitation of Marbon? I mean, God almighty. I mean, just when you think it cannot get any grosser. Is that even a word? Probably not. Yes, it is almost. It is. Spring has definitely sprung in Florida, PP Gate. How much snow? Oh my God. Are you in Canada? 18 inches of snow? You've got to be in Canada. Martyrs. There's not a one of, yeah. Please. In their own minds, I'm sure. Yeah, so let's just to recap here. Here's how I see all these people from their early years, like maybe high school. Mallory's always been a hot ass mess. I picture MGL as being probably like a little chubby girl who really desperately wanted to sit at the table with the cool girls, and eventually probably got there because she had a lot of personality. Because I can still see some of that in her now. So that's kind of how I see her. I think she's relied on her big personality and can be very engaging. So that's kind of how I picture her. And hey, I mean, I could be totally wrong. I'm just telling you based on what I have seen here, what I kind of envision was in the past. Oh, BHB, she was a freak. She probably hung out with the kids like back when I was in school, especially middle school, hard as this is to believe. There was we called them the freaks. And they were usually the 8th graders, and then maybe the 6th and 7th graders who weren't really good kids. And they would all sit on a bench kind of in front of the school, but not on school property. And they would all hang out at this bench and they would smoke. And I remember I was always like scared of them. Because like I said, I was very, very tiny person. So that's how I picture BHB, like dirt rocker. I guarantee you she probably wore really tight acid wash jeans with brown flat suede moccasin boots that went up to the knee, a Def Leppard t-shirt or AC/DC, one of those. Yeah, and probably like she was the reason my mom didn't want me to go to the roller skating rink on Friday night. Yeah, that's how I picture her. Dolly Vision, I don't even know if he got to high school. I think all you need to know about what he possibly grew up in, he might actually have some excuses for why he is how he is. Because I read those court documents. I'm not going to talk about them because you all know about them. And if you don't, you can figure out where to find them. I'm not going to speak on someone's mom or their other immediate family. But if those court papers are any indication, then I can maybe understand some of his shit too. Oh, JLR, well, he's done 13 years in and out of prison. Much of it spent in the psychiatric wing of the prison. So I think that speaks for itself. You know, the one that I don't talk about much because I really literally know nothing about, all I know about him is that he seems to have a penchant for polyester looking Versace inspired tunic tops. He definitely needs a shade match from Sephora. And he likes a French manicure. I ain't gonna hate on him for that. And of course I'm talking about Justice for All. I know the least about him. And I will say this in full disclosure. When he came out with the Jose interview, this was before it was apparent how I didn't really know anything about Molly at all at that time, but he was not enmeshed with her. Well, he might have been, but I didn't know it. And he just seemed like a really nice person. I thought he was very kind to Jose, what I heard. Of course, you know, I didn't know that they probably, my God, who knows what lengths they went to find that man, who didn't want to be found, by the way. But hey, this is YouTube and nobody gives a shit about that. So I know the least about him, but the only other thing I'll say is I was very surprised when I saw him out in the natural sunlight, let's just say. He definitely is bigger than I thought he was. But I don't know. I have no idea how deep his relationship goes with Molly, but if I had to guess, here's the scenario that I guess in my head. However it is that they met, I think that she probably had a big part to play in bringing him to YouTube and getting him all those subs almost instantly with the whole Jose thing. And I think he very much wanted to have some YouTube prominence, and she probably was like the fairy godmother who said, well, I can do it. I can make it happen. But Justin, My guess would be that she probably owns your ass. That would just be my guess. I don't know. But she doesn't strike me as the kind of person who does anything for free. I think she's always got an angle working, and that's just how I see it. But I think if you removed him from all of them and you just ran into him at Sephora, well, I'm sure I would think he was just fabulous. He seemed to, in the beginning, I thought that he had a nice, like a gentle way about him. There's a term for some. Molly seems to be a collector of some people. That's all I'm gonna say. If I was tacky like them, I'd say it. I'm sure you can figure it out. It's a rhyming. It's a couple words that rhyme. But I'm not gonna say that. So, you know where we're gonna leave this? Oh, this is perfect. Oh, this literally had me laughing out loud. Part of that clip that I listened to, Queen Bee's panel, when they were talking about, when they were playing Disgusting Mal being Disgusting Mal. Apparently there was kind of like I guess it was an Ask Me Anything type of deal that Molly was doing with her subs. And I don't know when it was, but somebody, and her husband kept coming in and out of the picture. Well, somebody said, if you could be a super, if you had a super, it was either if you could be a superhero or you had a superpower. I think it was a superpower. What would it be? What do you think she said? I laughed out loud and was like, I just dropped my pen. I was like, mic drop, enough said. And it's kind of ironic and bizarre too, because wouldn't have been the one I'd have picked. She said, oh, I'd be invisible. How ironic is it that one of the thirstiest women on YouTube said that if she could be a superpower, I would have thought she would have said, oh, I'll be fame whore. That'll be me. Do I get to wear a cape? Yes, sweetie, we're going to give you a cape. We're going to put crystals on it. My God, maybe, call Mr. Louboutin. He might agree to, make you a custom pair of fame whore boots. I don't know. I just thought that was hilarious. I would be invisible. That's one of those things, Molly. You don't have to be a superhero. I mean, I know she was speaking literally. I'm speaking figuratively. Molly, girl, I would absolutely second that position. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I would be happy to vote you as invisible fame whore. Oh, God. All right. You guys, I'm tired of talking about these dirtbags. So I'm going to go watch the Murdochs. And today's Wednesday, right? Yes, today's Wednesday. So how about either we could do it Friday. We could do not just Murdoch. We'll talk about the documentary on Netflix. We can talk about the trial. We can talk about whatever. I just want to talk about something at least one day this week that is not breathing life into these dirtbags and their exploits, because it truly, God, it does get exhausting. And when I say that it would, honestly, it would really suck to have this be your job. I mean, Hell, I'm not making a nickel and I treat it like a job. Like I prepare to come in here. Listen, there are people who are good at just turning the mic on and just letting it rip. I'll veer off, I'll deviate from the plan, but I like to have a plan at least, or an outline. So and that's like pressure. And I'm not even making money. So I just can't imagine what it would be like to have to constantly come up with some new person to, denigrate, shit talk, take advantage of, exploit. It's like, oh God, it's got to be exhausting. It's mentally exhausting to talk about them. So I can only imagine what it must be like to be them. Molly, is that you calling me, girl? Decline. All right, well, I'm gonna go walk my dog, but maybe let's aim for Friday and no, I'd like to say we'll make a pact, and no matter what, we're not talking about any of these assholes on Friday. So it's going to have to be something really huge for us to give them more airtime than they should already have had. So we'll plan on Friday. Watch if you can do it, watch the new Netflix doc. It's only 3 episodes, and I believe each episode's about an hour. And I'm going to get caught up on the trial too. I don't think I have too much more to get to current, so I'll do that, and we will. Your Honor, we'll reconvene on Friday. I'm going to go to chambers, and I'm going to consider all these motions. And court will be in recess until Friday. Fashion court, too. You guys, maybe that's what we should do. I don't think I have enough time to get the fashion popo pictures for the tragedy pimps, but we're doing it. I promise you we are doing it. Maybe over the weekend I'll work on that. And hey, if anybody wants to help me with that, I'm going to put my email in the chat. Okay, there's my email in the chat. So if anybody has some good pictures or clips, please send them to me. It would help me to get that episode going, and that one's going to be fun. There's nothing better than having fun at these idiots' expense. So let's do that. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day. Be well, and I will see you Friday. Bye.